The sun crept slowly over the rooftops of Somerset, filtering through lace curtains and glinting off window panes, streaked with the dust of city living. It was still early, too early for the boisterous sounds of traffic, not yet time for the shouts of children on their way to school. But Somerset Park, hidden where Delray met Oak Haven, was already awake. Robins hunted in dewy grass while the distant hum of delivery trucks vibrated through the ground. On the park's north side, an old woman shuffled along the paved path, her cane tapping a soft rhythm. Near the battered basketball court, early morning runners warmed up, headphones tight over their ears, determined to outrun their thoughts. The oak trees, the oldest thing in either neighborhood, spread broad limbs overhead, sheltering the benches below. By the pond, 15-year-old Andre Carter breathed deeply, drawing cool air into his chest. He wore a faded varsity jacket, a gift from his eldest brother, and a bright hopefulness in his quick smile. Andre was always up first in the Carter house. With 3 younger siblings to help ready for school, he knew how precious a moment of silence could be. He savored it, closing his eyes, whispering a promise to himself. Today I will make things better. Across the park and invisible to him, 10-year-old Daniel Reyes clung to the shadows cast by the towering oaks. Daniel's backpack sagged with the weight of yesterday's dreams and today's burdens. More books than a boy his age should carry, but also things he never told his friends about. In his pocket, he fingered a battered smartphone, the cracked screen held together by a strip of tape. Every vibration made him flinch. Today was supposed to be just another day. Andre noticed Daniel, the boy alone with his bag and his secrets, and made a mental note to invite him to soccer practice next weekend. In Somerset, just crossing the park from Delray to Oak Haven meant walking a tightrope between futures. One hopeful, one haunted. Soon the park would fill, mothers pushing prams, teens skipping class, men in overalls and girls in uniforms. But for this brief moment, Somerset Park belonged to Andre and Daniel, one born to lead, the other born to hide. What neither knew was that today, their paths would cross in a way neither would ever forget, and Somerset would be changed forever. Andre jogged towards the community center, bouncing a worn soccer ball beneath his arm. The mural painted across the outer wall, children's handprints in bright orange and teal, reminded him of summer days with friends now scattered through the city. Most mornings, Andre volunteered to help at the after-school program, giving homework help and leading drills for the soccer team. He believed in routine. It was an anchor against the chaos that sometimes erupted around them. Inside, the big hall echoed with footsteps as kids filtered in, nervous energy carrying them to their favorite corners. Andre's best friend, Faith, waved from the far wall, holding a clipboard with today's lineup. Faith didn't play soccer, but she was the mind behind every strategy, her glasses slipping down her nose as she did her calculations. Andre joined her at the blackboard. "How's Daniel doing?" Faith whispered. Andre shrugged. "He's quiet. Keeps to himself mostly. I think he's afraid of Rico's crew." Faith pursed her lips. Everyone's afraid of them. Even the teachers sometimes. Faith was right. Rico was 17, tall and broad-shouldered. His reputation built on fights, rumors, and the kind of power that comes only when adults look away. He ran the Haven crew, not a formal gang, but a group that had their own rules, their own language, and their own ways of recruiting younger kids when it suited them. Andre glanced out the window, spotting Daniel on the edge of the playground, huddled with his phone in hand. Sometimes Andre wondered what went through the little boy's mind. Quiet behind large brown eyes, his whole body tense as if bracing for bad news. Andre approached Daniel. "Hey, you coming to practice?" he asked gently. Daniel looked up, surprised. "I don't know. I could use a goalie," Andre offered, smiling. "You're fast." Daniel's eyes flickered, almost hopeful. "Okay, maybe." Andre watched Daniel slip away into the corner, backpack clutched tight. From behind the fence, Rico observed everything, talking in low tones with his crew. Andre felt a chill, knowing today there was something unusual in the air. The rest of the morning passed in drills and laughter, but Andre couldn't shake the feeling that Daniel was being pulled in 2 directions, as if caught between sunlight and shadow. At lunch, Faith handed Andre a note. "Mr. Lopez wants you to tutor Marcus this afternoon." Andre grinned. Marcus was his cousin. Smart, but easily distracted, always in trouble for sneaking out of class. "No problem," Andre said, pocketing the note. Later, as Andre headed home, he saw Daniel at the bus stop staring at his shoes. Andre paused, wondering if he should walk the boy home. Just as he was about to offer, Rico passed by on his bike, giving Daniel a look that froze him in place. Andre stood for a moment, then watched Daniel follow Rico toward Oak Haven. Andre whispered to himself, "Tomorrow I'll talk to him. Maybe I can help." But in Somerset, sometimes tomorrow was too late. The afternoon brought a different rhythm to Somerset. Streets filled with buses rattling over potholes, mothers calling from balconies, and elders watching from stoops as children played beneath tangled wires. On the edge of Oak Haven, the air thickened, less laughter, more caution. Here, Rico's reputation was folklore, stories traded back and forth, growing sharper each time. Daniel walked quickly, checking over his shoulder. Rico waited near a broken fence where birds gathered, the kind of place adults rarely ventured. His crew was there too, a loose collection of teens, some older, some just a year or two on from Daniel himself. Their sneakers scraped on concrete. Their jeans hung loose. Their eyes watched Daniel as if sizing him up. Rico greeted Daniel with a nod, tossing a pack of gum at him. "Good job yesterday," Rico said. "I need another favor," Daniel squirmed. He didn't know why Rico had chosen him, never understood the rules. Still, there was something magnetic about belonging, even if belonging came with a price. What is it?" Daniel stammered. Rico pointed to the phone in Daniel's hand. "Take this to the park tomorrow. Bench by the pond. Andre will be there."
"Give it to him, then come back here." Daniel's heart thundered.
"Why?" Rico's eyes narrowed. "Don't ask questions, Danny. Just do what I say and you'll get those comic books. You like Spider-Man, don't you?" Daniel nodded. Comic books were currency in Daniel's world. Escape, adventure, hope. Rico clapped Daniel on the shoulder. "Don't mess this up." As the sun dipped behind rooftops, Daniel walked home, mind spinning with worry. Every step felt heavier. The world larger. He wondered if Andre would even speak to him, wondered who else was watching. That evening, inside Daniel's small apartment, his mother stirred noodles on the stove. She watched him quietly, sensing a shift in her son's gaze. She'd fought hard to keep him safe, but the city was full of secrets, some too deep for any parent to see. Across town, Andre helped his siblings with homework. He thought about Daniel, about the note Faith had given him, about the strange tension building in the park and in his own chest. Night fell. Daniel stuffed the phone beneath his pillow, unable to sleep, praying for something, anything that would make tomorrow easier. But tomorrow, fate would demand more than Daniel was ready to give. Saturday felt different in Somerset, the kind of day when the sun pushed away every stray cloud and the park teemed with energy. Andre was early as usual. He set up cones for soccer practice and chatted with Faith, who updated the roster with quick flicks of her pen. Today, Marcus was absent, but Daniel's name was circled. Andre paced by the pond, scanning for Daniel. He saw him across the lawn, clutching his backpack, head down. Daniel's steps were deliberate. Rico watched from a distance, arms folded, his crew scattered like sentinels along the park's perimeter. Faith joined Andre on the bench. "You worried about Daniel?" she asked. "Maybe," Andre admitted. "He's scared, and I think he's tangled up with Rico." Faith didn't answer. She didn't have to. Her silence said enough. Daniel arrived, holding the battered smartphone with both hands. He hesitated, then pushed it into Andre's palm. Rico said, "You're supposed to have this," Daniel mumbled. Andre regarded the phone, confused. "Why?" Daniel shrugged, eyes darting to the trees. Before Andre could ask further, the air was pierced by shouts. Two teens arguing near the basketball court, pushing and shoving. Everyone's attention shifted, eyes collected on the commotion. In that moment, a single gunshot cracked through the park. Andre was struck, falling backwards, eyes wide, pain exploding in his chest. Faith screamed. Daniel, frozen, stood motionless, the phone dropped to the grass. Panic erupted, parents grabbed children, runners scattered, and Rico vanished behind the trees. The world contracted to the sound of Faith sobbing, Daniel shaking, and the distant wail of ambulance sirens. Within minutes, police swarmed the area. Andre was rushed away, the blood from his wound leaving a trail across the park. Daniel was ushered aside by strangers, his mind empty except for the echo of Rico's last words. "Be cool, buddy." Faith clung to Andre's jacket, refusing to let go until medics pried her hands away. She stared at Daniel, confused and scared, before he disappeared into the back seat of a squad car, alone. The investigation had begun, but no one yet understood how a boy with a backpack and a phone had become part of something so deadly. As dusk settled, Somerset Park stood silent, haunted by what it had witnessed, hopes shattered, futures questioned, and the beginning of a story that would shake the city to its core. Over the next 24 hours, Somerset was gripped by a sense of disbelief. An ambulance raced Andre through traffic, medics working frantically. The hospital waited as doctors battled to stabilize him, a brilliant athlete, teammate and friend suddenly broken by a single, senseless act. Detective Layla Singh arrived at the park surveying the chaos. She was methodical, voice calm as she questioned children, parents, and witnesses. Faith sobbed quietly in a plastic chair beside the soccer field, her knuckles white. Daniel sat in the back of a police car, silent, eyes fixed on the grass stained with Andre's blood. "Tell me what happened," Layla asked Daniel, her tone gentle. "I just did what Rico told me," Daniel whispered, barely audible. "He said to give Andre the phone." Layla frowned. "Did you know there was a gun?" Daniel shook his head, tears slipping down his cheeks. "No. Rico said it was a delivery. That's all." Layla exchanged glances with Officer Craig, who had collected the phone and the shell casing now bagged as evidence. Craig, a father himself, struggled to comprehend how a 10-year-old had been caught in such a web. The investigation spread outward. Rico was gone, nowhere to be found. His crew, tight-lipped and hostile, refused to talk. Rumors flared, about an unpaid debt, about messages sent on the battered phone, about gangs using children to shield themselves from prosecution. At the hospital, Andre's family filled the waiting area, holding hands, praying silently. Doctors brought updates in careful tones. "We're doing everything possible," they said. Faith visited, leaving a bracelet on Andre's nightstand, her heart heavy with doubt. Layla met with Daniel's mother, Mrs. Reyes, in their living room. "My son is not a criminal," she told Layla, voice trembling. "He's a good boy. He's scared of those older kids, that's all." Layla nodded, thinking of her own children, the invisible ways control could be exerted over a mind still growing. News spread. Somerset Park became a symbol, a place where children's innocence had been shattered. Community leaders called emergency meetings. Counselors volunteered their time. Faith organized a vigil, determined to show Daniel and other kids that they were not alone. As night returned, Daniel curled up in his bed, guilt clawing at him. The city stood watch, holding memories of lost trust and unresolved anger. Tomorrow would bring new questions, but one fact remained. Somerset would never be quite the same. The sun rose over Somerset, casting a harsh, unflinching light on broken dreams. News crews arrived at the park, cables and microphones snaking through the grass. Anchors spoke somberly about childhood, cities, violence, and fear. Andre's name became a hashtag. The benches overflowed with flowers, carnations, lilies, homemade cards with trembling handwriting. The phone Daniel had delivered became the centerpiece of the investigation. Layla Singh spent hours analyzing its contents. Text messages coded in emojis, pictures of sneakers, fragments of arguments meant to be understood only by insiders. Slowly, a story emerged, one where Daniel was nothing but a pawn, pushed into the center of a storm too vast for him to grasp. Daniel's days blurred. The police brought him in for questioning, not as a criminal but as a key witness. Social workers visited, offering gentle guidance, promising that things could be made right. Yet Daniel felt every moment the weight of Rico's control and the ache of Andre's absence. Faith organized a gathering near the soccer field. Kids spoke with trembling voices. Some cried openly, others held Daniel's hand. "We have to take care of each other," Faith declared, her voice amplified by the crowd's silence. "We cannot let fear be in charge." Andre's family, his mother, his older brother, his little sisters attended, silent but steadfast. Layla found herself at the edge of the group, thinking about her own daughters, about how even safe streets could harbor danger lurking just beneath the surface. Rico's absence loomed over everything. Police searched, questioned, and posted wanted flyers. Rumors grew that Rico had fled the city, that the Haven crew was dissolving, that older boys now feared what lay ahead. In their small apartment, Mrs. Reyes watched Daniel draw pictures, mostly superheroes, some broken, some rising. She wrapped him in a blanket, humming lullabies from her own childhood, wishing she could erase his pain. Over weeks, town hall meetings sprung up. Parents demanded accountability. City officials promised new community programs. Counselors spoke about trauma. Teachers pledged to watch for warning signs. Somerset changed. Andre's absence hurt, but his memory mobilized. Faith's strength set a new current. Daniel, still scared and grieving, began to speak again, slowly, haltingly, sharing details that helped Layla close in on the truth. But Somerset knew that answers didn't fix everything. Healing would take time, and time for some was a luxury. Spring faded to early summer. The Carter family visited the park less often, choosing instead to gather in quiet corners or at church, where Andre's empty seat in the youth choir left a haunting gap. People spoke his name with reverence, his smile painted on the mural that overlooked the soccer pitch, a silent reminder of all that had been lost. For Daniel, each day was a test of courage. While his mother held him close, the city worked to embrace rather than punish its youngest and most vulnerable. Layla Singh advocated for Daniel to enter a therapeutic program, not prison. She found herself in meetings with school administrators, social workers, and faith leaders, building a safety net where before there had been only silence. During group counseling sessions, Daniel met other children. Some were afraid, some angry, some just lonely. Together they formed tentative friendships, learning that talking about fear made it less powerful. Daniel started telling his story, beginning with small details, the feel of the phone in his hand, Rico's voice always in his ear, the way the world tilted that day by the pond. Faith watched Daniel from afar, wondering if a time would come when they could all sit together beneath the old trees and laugh without pain. She wrote him a letter, simple and kind. None of this was your fault. I hope you find peace. We all do. Meanwhile, Layla's investigation bore fruit. After weeks of searching, she tracked Rico to a rundown bus station on the city's edge. He was older than Daniel remembered, tired, scared, ragged at the edges. The police moved in quietly. Rico offered no resistance, only a smirk that said he'd always known this day was coming. Back at City Hall, community leaders proposed the Andre Initiative, a robust after-school system combining mentorship, sports, arts, and mental health care. The park would house a new youth center. Faith and Daniel were there the day ground was broken, both holding shovels, both looking shyly at the cameras. There's hope now, Faith whispered. Yes, Daniel replied, for the first time genuinely believing it. The courtroom was a solemn space, high ceilings, sun streaming through narrow panes. Officials gathered in quiet rows. Daniel's mother sat beside him, her hand gripping his tightly. Layla was there too, a reassuring figure. Faith and Andre's mother sat at the back, faces somber. Rico stood trial on charges of conspiracy, child endangerment, and weapons offenses. His lawyer tried to sway the court, claiming poverty, broken systems, and the failure of adults to protect children. But Layla's evidence, painstakingly built from phone records, interviews, and Daniel's testimony told a clearer story. Manipulation of the innocent, use of youth as shields. Daniel spoke, voice shaking but determined. I didn't know what would happen. Rico told me it was a game. He described the weight of fear, how belonging meant surviving, how threats and bribes made him do things he never understood. Faith watched, tears tracing lines on her cheeks. Andre's family addressed the room, speaking of loss and hope. We are devastated, Andre's mother said, but our grief should not destroy another child. Daniel was a victim too. The judge listened, weighing justice against mercy. Daniel was placed in intensive therapy and counseling, his record sealed except for mandatory review. Rico was sentenced to prison with clear terms, no parole until he participated in rehabilitation and helped educate others about the harm he caused. Outside the courthouse, supporters gathered, some angry, some relieved, all hungry for change. Layla told reporters, this city must protect its children, not punish them for adults' mistakes. Daniel was hugged by Faith, who promised to visit every week. Andre's family shook his hand, acceptance shining in their eyes. In the following months, Somerset leaned into healing. Schools partnered with counselors. Parents attended workshops. Murals bloomed across empty walls. Daniel wrote letters to other kids caught in bad situations, sharing what he'd learned about regret, forgiveness, and the strength to say no. Andre's memory, woven into every positive act, gave Somerset a blueprint for the future, one defined by compassion, courage, and accountability. Months passed, and Somerset began its slow transformation. The city council approved funding for Andre's house, a youth center designed to promote safety, mentorship, and creativity. Faith volunteered as a coordinator, organizing art classes and soccer games. The building, once a plain brick structure, was soon covered in murals. Images of Andre, superheroes lifting each other, children laughing together. Daniel became a regular at the youth center, growing in confidence through therapy and the encouragement of new friends. He helped paint a mural inspired by his dreams. A city where no child stood alone, where trust replaced suspicion. His message, written in bold blue beneath the mural, read, "We heal together." Layla Singh worked beyond the investigation, collaborating with teachers and counselors to create workshops on recognizing exploitation and building resilience. She spoke at schools telling the story not just of crime but of healing and hope. Rico's case became a catalyst for reform. Lawmakers reviewed policies about minors, conspiracy, and community accountability. New programs emerged, focusing on intervention before children could be drawn into criminal acts. Andre's family continued to attend vigils, meet affected parents, and support the growing movement. His mother told the assembly at Andre's house, "We miss him every day, but in every act of kindness, every bit of progress, he lives on." The city learned to mourn, but also to grow. Somerset Park, once haunted by tragedy, brimmed with laughter again as children reclaimed their place beneath the old oaks. Daniel's story spread across social media. He became a symbol for second chances and the importance of speaking out early. Guided by Faith's friendship and Layla's mentorship, he began to believe the past could fuel a better future. Years later, Somerset gatherings still honored Andre Carter. His name became more than memory. It was a call to action and a celebration of the power of change. Daniel, now 17, stood before a crowd at the anniversary of Andre's house. He spoke with conviction, shoulders squared, voice clear. "We all build this community. One act of courage, one moment of honesty, one outstretched hand at a time." Faith, now a mentor for new volunteers, smiled at Daniel from the front row. Layla, honored guest speaker, told stories of children she'd met, systems she'd helped change. Soccer matches ran late into the evening. Murals were retouched, their colors brighter. Andre's mother led a group of children in planting wildflowers near the old benches, telling them, "All hope comes from what we do together." Somerset had been forged by tragedy, but rebuilt on forgiveness, resilience, and the refusal to give up on any child. The city kept growing, learning, never perfect but no longer paralyzed by its past. Daniel's story inspired many. He volunteered, writing letters to kids struggling to find their way. "You are not alone," he told them, "and your story can help others." From the shadows of a single destructive moment, Somerset emerged as a beacon, a model for every city that wondered if it was possible to heal and protect its children, not simply punish or abandon them. As dusk returned, laughter once again echoed beneath the oaks. Somerset was alive, carrying Andre's spirit, carrying Daniel's resolve, and promising always that light would follow every darkness.